News Central now at this hour begins in Nigeria, where the government of Nigeria has announced plans to bolster its anti-banditry operations with the acquisition of 50 new aircraft scheduled to arrive between now and next year. The initiative aims to strengthen security efforts in the northwestern region of the country and across Nigeria as terrorists occupy the Kenji National Park in Niger State. The Chief of Air Staff, Marshal Bala Abubakar, disclosed that the air fleet would include 12 AH-1 attack helicopters, 24 M346 attack aircraft, 12 Augusta Westland 101, 109 helicopters, and 2 CASA 295 medium aircraft airlifts. Now, Abubakar stated this during the inauguration of new facilities at the 213 Forward Operational Base in Katsina State. Let's now tell you that the former presidential candidate Peter Obi of the Labour Party has expressed strong criticism towards President Bola Tinubu's recent remarks, which he believes trivializes Nigeria's severe challenges by comparing them to those of other countries. During a meeting with a delegation from the National Assembly for Eid al-Kabir celebrations, President Tinubu acknowledged the existence of poverty and suffering in Nigeria, but emphasized that the country is not alone in facing such issues, urging citizens to confront these challenges. Reacting to these comments on the X handle, Obi highlighted a range of issues plaguing Nigeria, including extreme poverty, insecurity, widespread hunger, poor educational standards, high infant mortality rates, corruption, unemployment, and a significant income disparity between the rich and the poor. Obi expressed his disappointment that Nigerian leaders often downplay these issues by making international comparisons rather than presenting actionable plans to address them. A bit of politics now. The 23 caretaker committee chairmen sworn in by Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara are yet to settle down in their various local council headquarters in the state, as the police have barred them from gaining access into the premises. Meanwhile, some persons suspected to be loyalists of the immediate past governor Nyesom Wike are reportedly still hanging around the council areas. News Central correspondent Austin Azu, who is on ground monitoring the situation in Rivers State, tells us more.
The 23 local government caretaker committee chairmen appointed by the Rivers State governor are yet to access their offices, perhaps due to security reasons. On Thursday morning, the security agencies barricaded the Port Harcourt City Local Government Council entrance gates, thereby denying everyone access into the complex. News Central crew gathered that the newly appointed caretaker committee chairmen have been mandated to operate from outside the LGA complex, pending when the police will vacate the LGAs. At Obiakpo local government headquarters, the story is almost the same, but these supporters loyal to the minister of the FCT pledged their total loyalty to him, as they reiterated that he remains the leader of Rivers politics. Addressing the supporters, who were mostly youths, the ousted council boss urged them to be peaceful as they anticipate the appeal court's verdict on the local government leadership tussle in the state.
We had altercation and confrontation with the security of the governor of Rivers State, backed by militants that are not even from Rivers State. For us, we didn't want anybody's blood to spill. But they took advantage of it and did the rubbish they did in the council. We continue to remain law-abiding. But what I promise them is that this will not happen again. Yes. What they did last time will never, ever happen again under our watch. It has happened, and that should be the last time it should happen. But with all that they have done, they will answer to the law. We are not going to rest on our oars until they are brought to justice.
Over the past few months, Rivers has been engulfed in political crisis due to the rift between Fubara and Wike. While the political elephants do battle, there is no doubt that governance and peace in the state will be imparted. In Port Harcourt, for News Central, Austin Azu.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has stated that his officers will remain at the Rivers State Local Government Secretariats until the court rules on the local government chairman tenure extension crisis in the state. A clash occurred on Tuesday in Port Harcourt, the state capital, over the tenure of local government council chairman, resulting in the death of a police officer and a vigilante member. The 3-year terms of the 23 local government chairmen ended on Monday, but they insisted on staying in office, citing the Local Government Amendment Law 2024 enacted by the Martin Amewule-led House of Assembly. This law, passed by 27 lawmakers loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, also allows the chairman to remain in office for 6 more months due to the failure of Governor Siminalayi Fubara to hold local government elections. Speaking during a meeting with commanders in Abuja, the IGP stated that the barricades would remain until the court reached a decision on the matter. The IG noted that this was to prevent further loss of lives. Now, the All Progressives Congress has accused Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara of being the supreme architect of the crisis in the state. APC national spokesperson Felix Moka described the crisis rocking the oil-rich state as horrific. He said the opposition party made the fake claim without addressing the issues bedeviling the state, accusing the governor of showing a disdain for the rule of law since he assumed office. Moka accused the governor of expending public funds without lawful appropriations by a duly constituted legislature, thereby undermining the will of the good people of Rivers State and their rights to effective and accountable democratic governance. To the north now, the Kano state government has insisted that Sanusi remains the Emir of Kano. This is following a federal high court order on Thursday, which nullified the reappointment of Muhammadu Sanusi II as the 16th Emir of Kano. The government also ordered the State Commissioner of Police to remove the 15th Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, from the Gidan Nasarawa mini palace for demolition of the building. The State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Haruna Issa Dederi, accompanied by the Secretary to the State Government, Bafa Bichi, gave the order while addressing newsmen at the Government House. Dederi said Bayero should be removed from the property where he is trespassing, as government had already concluded arrangements for the general reconstruction and renovation of the property with immediate effect. Earlier, a public affairs analyst, Mohammed Abdullahi, spoke to us on this development.
The rate at which perhaps whether from government and even individuals, powerful individuals within the country, disobey court orders. It's not something that is new, actually, and it's shocking. You know, for several occasions, several activities, and several times across the country, we've had, particularly even government, whether federal, state, disobeying court orders, to their own advantage. You know, picking to just obey court orders that is advantageous to them, and then ignoring orders that they feel it's not is disadvantageous to them. So you know, the quagmire in Kano at the moment is because of basically the disobedience of court orders, which is not new. You know, if you recall back to 2020, when SLS, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, was actually dethroned, even the then governor disobeyed the court order that restrained him from doing that, you know. And this same government, led by the NNPP, are feeling, yes, the same. They're actually respecting some court orders and disobeying some other court orders, you know, like I said, picking, you know, which court order to obey.
You're watching News Central now. A break will do here. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Don't go away. Many thanks for being there. A high court in Akure, the Ondo state capital, has nullified the creation of an additional 33 local council development areas by the administration of late former governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. The presiding judge, Justice Adebusoye, who delivered the ruling on Thursday, declared the creation of the LCDAs unconstitutional and illegal. Recall that the Ondo State House of Assembly had passed a bill for the creation of the 33 additional councils on August 15, 2023, which the former governor Rotimi signed in September last year. The 33 LCDAs were to coexist with the 18 local government areas, bringing the total number of local councils in the state to 51. Now, to discuss this further, we are joined by a legal practitioner and political analyst, Okiki Adeniran. Okiki, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
So first, I'd like to find out what were the basis or the reasons for the creation of the 33 additional LCDAs. Are those reasons valid? Let's start from there.
Yes, I believe those reasons are valid. And I believe that the reasons why those 33 LCDA were created was basically to, get the dividends of democracy down to the grassroots people. In governance, one has to be very, careful, and also one needs to be very sure that the dividend of democracy is getting to the people that it's supposed to get to. So I believe that these LCDAs were created basically because the governor at the time saw that it will be very, very important for him to get the dividends of democracy and also, to ease governance, to be able to get to the grassroots people easily, he decided to create those LCDAs.
So on what grounds then, because you're a legal practitioner, so on what grounds did Justice Adebusoye now come out to give a declaration or deliver a judgment saying that it is unconstitutional and illegal?
Yes. If you had gone through the ruling, you will see that what Justice Adebusoye said was that the bill that was passed to law that created this local government, the LCD, was signed outside the state. As a matter of fact, it was signed in Ibadan, and the court saw that this was an abnormal, situation. It shouldn't have happened. And then, because of that, tended that it was illegal, which, in a way, I believe, and I also agree that such thing, shouldn't have happened. So basically, the reason why this has been done and the 33 LCDAs were scrapped was basically because they were, the foundation, creating those LCDAs wasn't strong enough.
So having said that, what are the potential implications of this nullification of the creation of these LCDAs in terms of governance and administration? Is there any implication to it?
Certainly, yes. Certainly you can be sure now that what former governor Rotimi Akeredolu was trying to do at that time, in order to, ease governors and to be able to get through to the grassroots people, would at this time be cut short because the court has said, what you have done is illegal and therefore it should be stopped. And that means that the implication will be both sides. The citizen will have a court, it will be short-circuited, in sense that it will mean that they will not enjoy what they've been enjoying before. And as a matter of fact, the government will not be able to reach them easily. They had 18 local government before, but the 3 LCDAs they were able to engage the citizens because those LCDAs were created. And as a matter of fact, the implication will also be that people that they've already employed in such a way that the admin guys, the admin people, the grassroots people that have been employed to work with the LCDAs means that by this time, they would have lost their jobs. And what it means is that there will be a bit of an issue right now at those LCDAs in the sense that they'll be trying to, find their footing and trying to, take the next step. And in fact, it will be a hope that's been cut short in that sense.
So now that you've been able to establish the fact that it's not as though the creation of these 33 LCDAs is wrong, but the manner in which the bill was presented for their creation is where the problem is. Is there a possibility that there could be a retendering of the bill in an appropriate form by the state assembly to have it go through the proper channels, have it go through the proper process, whether or not it will be ratified at this time?
Yes, I believe that can be done. And as a matter of fact, just like, it has been said, if the foundation be faulty. What can the righteous do? At this time, because like we've established, the bill is actually defective, and the only way to have it done properly is to go back to the house where it was cooked and where it was put together, to go back to the drawing board and have it done again, and sent to the governor for it to be signed. I believe right now, at the time it was signed before now, there were a bit of issues. The governance was not so smooth at the time, but now we know that things are now settled, and I believe that going forward, if it is retendered and sent to the governor, it will be a good thing, and we can have those LCDAs back.
Okay, so finally, Okiki, before I let you go, so the court cited the fact that the governor signed the bill creating those LCDAs outside of the state. We're in a virtual society, and some people have argued that if you could have justices or judges affirm or give a verdict virtually over cases in court, why is it that a governor or a president cannot preside over the affairs of his jurisdiction, whether or not he's in the state or in the country at that particular time? Is there a law or a provision, because of course as a legal practitioner you help us understand that says that if a president or a governor is to ratify, peruse a particular bill or append his signature to it, it has to be within the locality, either as a president or as a governor, before that bill can be acknowledged as being valid?
Yes, I'll start from your example. So as a lawyer, right, I've been in different proceedings where the court read the judgment or ruling, and it was virtual. And those rulings were read, the judge was in the court, right? Because, things there are certain places that are, are marked for things to be done. As a matter of fact, as a judge, you cannot be in your bedroom and read a ruling or read a judgment. As a matter of fact, as a counsel, you have to even sit down, fully robed, and appear before the court, right? So talking about the issue on ground, right? Specifically, I believe that the process at which the House of Assembly went by, giving the former governor the bill to sign to law was wrong. Due process wasn't followed, right? As a matter of fact, the issue at that time was because the former governor was not in good health at the time, and that was why the bill was taken to him to sign in Ibadan or your state. The provision of the constitution is very clear about this. If a governor is not going to be in the country, in the country, or maybe even the state at the time, the provision of the constitution says that you can transmit power to your deputy. At the time when Governor Akeredolu was not in Ondo State, he could have transmitted power to his deputy. If his deputy was acting on his behalf, he could have signed the bill into law, and then we won't have all this we are having today. But because as we know, politics is it goes into so much, and at times it's it takes away due process, and this kind of issues that we have thereafter. So I'll give an example. If we encourage this kind of thing and we have things done this way, someone like the Speaker of the House, maybe Speaker of Ondo State House of Assembly, can decide to travel or maybe be in Lagos and say, "Oh, I want to convey the sitting of the legislative arm of the government," and says that, okay, you can come to my house to have the sitting. That would be an abnormality, and it won't sit well. So as it is, due process wasn't followed. Things are not done that way. The constitution has provided that if a governor is not going to be around, the deputy can take charge. If the deputy is not around, the speaker can take charge. Okay. So in this case, it has been seen, right, that the fundamental things were not done properly, and therefore you can build, something on nothing.
Okay, Okiki Adeniro, legal practitioner and political analyst, thank you so much for the education.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's now head to Edo State, where the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress has criticized the ruling of the People's Democratic Party over the expulsion of the ex-deputy governor, Philip Shaibu, while describing his expulsion as a sign of panic by the PDP. The APC said Shaibu was welcome to return to the APC. The PDP on Wednesday said Shaibu was expelled from declaring support for the APC ahead of the September 21 governorship election and demarcating the candidate of the PDP, Asue Ighodalo. But the party, that is the APC, in a statement on Thursday by the Director of Publicity of its Governorship Campaign Council, Orobosa Omojo, said Shaibu's expulsion showed that the PDP was in a panic mode ahead of the poll. He said Shaibu was welcomed into the APC if and when it decides to do so. To discuss this, we are joined by Comrade Orobosa Omojo, JP, publisher, Midwest Herald, and former Commissioner, Edo State. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So the accusation against Philip Shaibu, of course, which actually validated his expulsion from the PDP, was that he declared support for the APC and he also demarcated the candidates of the PDP in the soon-to-come gubernatorial election, that is Asue Ighodalo. How true is this particular claim or reason for his expulsion, or would you say it is frivolous?
Well, let me say this one straight away. Like the response that my party, the APC, had towards the obnoxious action of the PDP, the arrogant, obnoxious, arrogant PDP and their leadership last week, we remain and we stand by it. First and foremost, how do we gauge? How do we tell that Philip Shaibu, the former deputy governor, deserve the kind of treatment that is being meted by the governor of the state and the party? His Excellency has not done anything different from what Mr. Governor has. Because when you have a body that the head is rotten, that the leadership is rotten, that the leadership believes anything can be done to achieve your aim or purpose, everybody will be free to act the way he or she wants to act. Let me put it on record here that the Labour Party today that has now become the Hydra-headed problem for the PDP in the state was established by the governor, by elements within his government before the National Assembly election, simply because of the panic button that they pressed now, like I said, when I responded to their action.
Orobosa, sorry to barge in. You may need to tone down on the kind of words you use, of course, in respect for these persons. But what I like to quickly find out is that when you say PDP is in panic mode, what do you mean? Because they have a candidate for the election.
You know, I was trying to marry what happened, the panic mode before the last general election, and there's the same manner. There is this thinking because the PDP always refuse to plan. They always refuse to plan, believe money can do anything, money can buy voters. And once they get it now, that their money will fail them, they start applying all manner of rough practice. That is the same thing I'm saying here now to say, because they know heading for failure of September 21st, this year, they've started looking for imaginary enemies, imaginary forts that they can hold on to. Honorable Philip Shaibu, he is a foundational member of AC, ACN, and APC. He was able to build a party. He only left 2020 because of the treatment that was meted to Mr. Governor. And he sacrificed everything and followed him. So let me just add this one to say, he has not made anything wrong for the PDP. PDP, they've laid their bed the way they want to lie on it. Picking on him to want to expel him, which I think they can't do because he has put in so much. The national leadership of the PDP, they have not said so, that he's no longer a member of their party.
Okay,
but
now
that by the side, that by the side. But let me just tell you here to say, there are more persons that have been penciled down by the PDP that they tend to give the same treatment to, just because they are looking for excuses for their failure.
Okay, so you said he left the APC because of how the governor was treated. Of course, now he has moved to PDP and he has been expelled. What's the difference between how he was treated in APC compared to how he's being treated in PDP, or how the governor was treated in APC before he left, with how Shuaibu was actually treated in PDP? Because some people felt that it's the same kind of party treatment for people when it comes to those who are aspiring for power, but are not at, within the caucus of those who actually want these people to be in power.
Well, there may be similarity in it, but there is one. The governor was chased away from APC because of his credentials, because of the questions that arose about his credentials at the University of Ibadan. That's quite different. Philip Shuaibu was only pursuing his constitutional rights to be voted for. He pursued his interests as a politician, and that was the only error. So there are two different things. In APC, when the governor was there, he was asked to leave because the APC didn't want to feature a governor that has a doubtful credential. That was why they asked him to leave. But in this case, Philip Shuaibu did not offend any part of the constitution of the party or the country. He has a right to seek to be voted for. All you need to do as a governor or whoever is aspiring against him is that you don't support him. But to go ahead and impeach him, and the next thing you are asking him not to express himself. He has a fundamental human right to meet with anybody he wants to. He has a right to give anybody anything he wants to give.
Okay.
If you say I have bought these vehicles, I have rented this apartment, I now believe I want to give it to my friend Senator Monday Okpebolo for his campaign. How does that offend the constitution of PDP? That's the question. He has not voted for, for the person that they have accusing him that is working for. He's not voted. Election is about vote. It's not about going to visit somebody or buying a car and giving somebody. Have they seen the single vote that Philip Shuaibu has, that on that election day that he dropped it in the ballot box for the APC? It's at that point he can be charged for anti-party activity, and he has not done that.
Okay,
and
so
that's why I said the PDP has pressed the panic button. They are in a hurry.
So now the APC. Yeah. Now, the APC is willing to welcome Shuaibu back into its fold. Do you think that will be pivotal for the party in the coming election?
I tell you, PDP, Philip Shuaibu, any day, anytime, is 1,001 asset to any party, because he knows the organization power of APC. He was part and parcel of the planning process. He helped to plant it. He helped to water it. He helped to nurture it. So if he decides any day to come back to us, we will receive him. He will add to the armory, to the arsenal we are prepared to ensure that PDP is buried finally, the way we buried them in 2007, April 14, in the state, when we feature Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole as our governorship, candidate there. Philip Shuaibu, to any party that is prepared to embrace, the party should just go and start celebrating. It's not everywhere, especially by the youths.
Okay.
He has a payoff. It's youth o'clock. This guy is loved by the youth, is loved by the elders, because he's very peaceful and he's a strong character.
All right.
He believes that
Comrade.
He believes that nobody should be a godfather in a political system. And that is why the governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, hates his God, because Philip Dock can never stand any godfather.
Okay, Comrade.
Him and sadly, we are happy that he's back. He may be back, and we are praying, and we are even going to plead with him to please come back home and help us to chase. Besides, should try to tone down, to chase this guy.
All right, Comrade Orobosa Amojo JP, publisher, Midwest Herald, and former Commissioner Edo State. Thank you so much for talking to us at this time. Now in Niger, torrential rains and floods have left 21 people dead and nearly 6,000 people affected. The ministry said 8 people had drowned and 13 had died in houses that collapsed in storms. Another 26 people have been injured and around 4,000 cattle have been killed or lost. The Maradi region in central Niger has been worst hit by the start of the rainy season, accounting for 14 of the dead. The rainy season traditionally runs from June through September in the African nation. In 2022, about 195 people were killed and 400,000 people were affected, many of whom lost their homes. And I'll tell you that the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, has warned of the increasing difficulty in assisting people inside Sudan. War has ravaged and raged since April 2023 between the regular military under Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the paramilitary rapid support forces led by his former deputy Mohamed Hamdan Daglo. The conflict has left tens of thousands of people dead and displaced more than 10 million people, according to the United Nations. Grandi, who leads the United Nations Refugee Agency, said that although he had seen a little bit of progress in the last few weeks, much more action was needed to improve access.
Asking all the parties to give access to humanitarians because our presence there is insufficient to help the people in need, and especially to bring the food and the other supplies that are needed for people that otherwise risk starvation big time. I am very worried because I was hoping at the beginning, like many Sudanese did, that this would be a short-lived conflict. From that part of the country that arrive in Chad tell us appalling stories of human rights violations, rape, forced recruitment of children, killing, mutilations, extortions, occupation of houses, a myriad violations of international humanitarian law. What I hear in private and public statements by the factions, by the groups fighting, is a very big determination towards a military solution. So towards victory, one side or the other side.
Let's now tell you that Malawi President Lazarus Chakwera has named Dr. Michael Biswik-Usi as the country's new vice president. He replaces the late vice president, Solus Chilima, who died in a plane crash on June 10, along with 8 other Malawian officials. According to Malawi's constitution, the president must appoint a second-in-command within 7 days from the date of a vacancy. Dr. Michael Biswik-Usi, a prominent figure known for his contributions to public service and leadership, has been selected to fill this crucial role in the executive branch. And now, to discuss this, we are joined by a political scientist, Mr. Wonderful Mokuchi. Wonderful, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, given the current political dynamics, do you think it is actually wise for President Chakwera to appoint someone from Chilima's party as his new vice president?
Yes, that was the safest and also the wisest decision because President Chakwera is running the government in alliance with the UTM. With the death of Dr. Saulus Chilima, it was only wise for the president to go back to the UTM and then get the vice president from the party in order to sustain the alliance.
So basically you're saying that this move will actually strengthen the president's grip on power with the alliance and this particular candidate that has been chosen as VP.
Yes, that is the reasoning behind the choice. This means that the UTM supporters will easily be fully behind the government, especially in the next year's coming elections, because numbers are critical when it's election. And we are now operating under the 50+1 electoral system. So the president will still need UTM, and the best way was to make sure that they get someone from there.
But don't you think that could be striking some nerves, most especially within the party that the president himself represents? Is that a consensus for him to choose someone from another party, from his own party? Was it agreed upon?
We may not have access to the discussions inside, but so far we haven't seen or heard anything or anyone from MCT complaining I think the choice of Dr. Michael Osi was widely expected. So for the MCP, which is Dr. Jagwere's party, it's all in order because they have the presidency. I do not think that they were also looking for the vice president. So everything is in order. The only challenge could be on the part of UTM because today's swearing ceremony, we couldn't see some top officials from the UTM party. I feel they are still filling the gap that Dr. Chirima has left in the party.
So where do you think this will leave the rest of the opposition parties? Do you think by this time they will be re-strategizing to actually give President Chakwera and his party a run for his money in the coming election?
Now, when you're talking about the opposition party, it's mostly the former ruling Democratic Progressive Party, which seems to be strong, to give a strong opposition when it comes to next year's elections. However, the combination of MCP and UTM, if it fully unites, I do not see DPP winning against that kind of alliance.
Okay, wonderful, Mukuche, political scientist. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
From other continents, we'll tell you that the French Prime Minister, Gabriel Attal, is calling on left-wing voters to cast a useful vote in the first round to prevent the far right from winning. Gabriel Attal spoke in Marseille while supporting two local candidates representing his party in the legislative elections, including Sabrina Agesti-Ubashi, Junior Minister for Citizenship and Urban Affairs, vying to save her seat in the first constituency of Boucher-Dogon.
Et moi, le message que j'adresse aussi ici aujourd'hui, c'est beaucoup d'électeurs de gauche, d'une gauche social-démocrate, attachés aux valeurs de la République, qui ne se retrouvent pas dans l'alliance qui a été signée entre les responsables du Parti socialiste, Raphaël Glucksmann, et la France insoumise. Parce que ce n'est pas ça les valeurs de gauche. Les valeurs de gauche, c'est les valeurs de la République, c'est la laïcité, c'est le rassemblement. Et je les appelle vraiment à voter utile dès le premier tour pour empêcher l'extrême droite de gagner.
We talk business now. Zimbabwe is set to implement a new system that will determine the proportion of taxes payable in ZiG, an abbreviation for Zimbabwe gold and foreign currency, as well as taxes that can only be settled using this new unit. These changes are part of a series of measures aimed at safeguarding the ZiG from experiencing the same fate as its 6 predecessors. Given that a considerable portion of Zimbabwe's economy operates informally, Economics Trimor Mulanga appeared as a guest on the Business Edge show to discuss how the government plans to incorporate the informal sector into the new tax system and encourage broader adoption of ZiG within that sector.
Economic activity, whether you're looking at volume or value terms, is in the informal sector. Even when you look at employment, a lot more of our people are employed in the informal sector than they are in the formal sector. And as I spoke about the alternative market, the parallel market or the black market, depending on which you would call it, as I spoke about that, what also sustains it is the fact that a lot of the informal sector players having no access or having limited access to formal channels, formal access to Forex, would usually then have had recourse to that alternative market in as much as it.
In sports, getting Nigeria going at the start of the 23rd African Championships, Emeka Jeffrey has started very well in the men's decathlon. Jeffrey has competed in 2 events already, that is the 100 meters and long jump, and has finished top 3 in both events. He came close to matching his personal best, that's about 7.16 meters in the long jump, finished 3rd with a mark of 7.15 minutes. Since 2018, Peter Moreno and Samuel Osadolo Emeka Jeffrey is the first Nigerian athlete to compete in the decathlon at the African Championship, and he will be hoping to make the podium. He finished second in a 100 meters earlier today and is currently competing in the shot put at the moment. Now, despite the recent success of Beyond Limits Football Academy, the owner of the academy, Kunle Shonami, has reaffirmed that the academy's focus is to develop players, maximizing their potentials to become future stars. The Ogun State-based team won 5 titles this season, including the Ogun State FA Cup, the TCC League, and the TCC Cup. The astute administrator further called for more organized template in Nigeria to achieve success in the future.
Our target is never to promote, to win cups. No. Our model is to develop players for them to be the best of what they can be. That's all. Just keep developing them to optimize their potential. That's all. And you leave the rest. But when we're in a society like this, where not too many people are doing it the right way, you are bound to succeed. You know, you're about to do better than most of them, not because you are actually better, but because they are not properly organized. And like I keep saying, that's the difference between ourselves.
And that's all at this hour. But before we go, we'll take a look at some of our top stories. Nigeria orders 50 new air fighter craft to tackle insurgency. Kano government insists Sanusi remains Emir, orders demolition of Bayero's palace. United Nations warns of insufficient humanitarian access in Sudan's conflict. You can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Do watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onabanjo.